this is Jpar, and this is the new review. This is part 2 of our new review. We did John Wick, and now we're doing John Wick Chapter 2. Once again, we have Clay, Myles, and Da Boo. Say hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Why are you here?
Why are we back to this?
Why
is Kermit back?
Why am I here? Hello, everybody. We're going to review John Wick Chapter 2.
On the Muppet Show.
On the Muppet Show tonight. We have
getting-
Keanu Reeves. Yay!
I'm getting very angry.
Now, Marvin.
Oh, Marvin showed up now.
All right, so let's get into our first impression. Now, I'm assuming you've already seen John Wick, or you've heard our first review by this point. So now we're just going to get into our first impressions now for John Wick Chapter 2. This time, Clayton, you said you had something to say.
Okay, the movie itself was really good, but on the whole, and I know I'm going to get lambasted for this, I felt it was unnecessary. I felt like Wick's story was told excellently in the first movie, and this just felt like a Hollywood cash-in.
First impressions, Myles.
I am going to agree with Clayton. The first one set the bar really high, and it would have been a perfect one-off. You know, leave us with enough mystery and intrigue, make it become a cult classic that everybody talks about 20 years from now. Don't cash it in, don't milk it down. If you are going to do something fresh. But it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Like, it was
The
good.
bar was set really high with the first one. I think that was the crux to this movie going in.
To add to that, I can't stray too far from the same comments. I will admit I have to appreciate more what this movie brought that the first one didn't for me in some ways. Not a lot, but in some ways. So I was glad to be introduced to some new elements within this world of Mr. Wick. But you guys are right about one thing. It could have easily been stopped at the end of the first one. So this one is questionable whether if it was totally necessary. But I will admit there are some things I'm loving out of this one.
I appreciated that... After seeing this, what I took away from it is I appreciated that they didn't do the exact same thing, which they could have easily done. It's like, oh, it was such a good idea. Let's do it again. Let's kill his dog again. And he goes crazy again. They could have easily fallen into that trap, and they didn't. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But at the same time, the first one's just way better. It's far more superior than this one. All right, so let's get into our ratings and why are we giving it a rating without getting into spoilers. Go first, Clay.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 3 because it's not that it's a bad movie. I just didn't feel John Wick's motivation throughout it, and without giving anything away, where the first movie's plot was really concise and focused and to the point. Wick's story in Chapter 2 quickly comes off the rails and just balloons into all manner of different directions. It meanders off into all kinds of different tiers. It does. It really does. The pacing gets kind of weird. It seems to drag in spots, and that's really my worst point about it. Is just that I didn't feel that the movie was necessary, but I'm combating the fact that I felt that it was actually... The action was there, but the story was just not there for me.
So what's the rating?
My rating is a 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Myles.
I'm going to give it a 3 as well. It's a good movie. You should still go see it. The opening sequence was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The opening sequence was probably the best part.
Him in that Mustang, and he's just slowly destroying the Mustang and killing everybody in the meantime. There was one... Oh, I won't get into it.
Yeah, let's not get into spoilers.
Okay, but... so, the best and worst, or just first impressions?
We're doing the rating without...
Okay, so the best for me, again...
Not the best, just
first impressions.
We're doing
first impressions.
We're not doing first... It's the rating. Tell us why, without spoilers.
Okay, why am I giving it a 3? I'm giving it a 3 because the first movie set the bar pretty high. There was more drive to go behind John Wick for what he was doing. This movie, he was just an instrument, and I didn't like that. And there was actually a couple points in the movie where nah, that doesn't make any sense. Why did that happen? And that never happened to me in the first movie.
Yeah.
The first movie was actually believable, believe it or not. Even though this one guy kills 80 people,
Yeah.
it was still more believable the way he was doing it. There was a couple scenes where I'm like, how come they didn't notice that? Or, who's this guy? Or, what? And that happened to me quite a bit in this movie, and it took me out of the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a movie.
Oh, yeah, it's
right.
That's right. Keanu Reeves is not really killing people.
Yeah, but the first movie didn't give me that. The first movie, I was actually in it. I was there with them. I was a fly on the wall, and I loved that. And this movie, there was like, I don't want to call them mistakes, but it was kind of like just unbelievableness.
Just not as tight.
It wasn't as tight. Yeah, I was loose in a cage, And so that's why I got a 3. It's still a good movie. Like, the action was wicked. But...
John Wicked?
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah, he put the Wick in Wicked.
Yeah.
But it just didn't hold that same... It didn't have that John Wick, of the first movie.
Take that back.
All right, so Da Boo, rating and reasons without spoilers.
I honestly feel I could easily give this a 3.5. I know I can understand why you guys are leaning more on 3s, but for me, the extra 0.5 is going to be given for the fact that this movie brought in other, honestly, elements from the first movie that I didn't get to see as much. You guys were talking about the underground scene, so to speak, the world that we're trying to believe Wick is part of, the world we don't normally see as average Joes. That world I saw more of in this movie, which I loved. I felt like they had to go that much deeper into it. So I was glad to see that element to it. I know that this movie could easily have done a lot worse. The problem is I kind of like what I think you had said, Myles, because the first one set the bar high, we felt like we had this John Wick character that was quite grounded in realism in so many different ways that when he was in, scene by scene in the action moments, the moments that could be so unbelievable that it'd be too far. In this movie, they did go a little bit too far. There were not a lot of them. I mean, there were some moments where I had to think twice of whether if that was believable or not. In the first movie, I didn't have to think of it. It was, scene was done, you took it for what it was, you moved on. This one, you had to kind of pick at it a little bit more because there was so much of it happening all at once that at some points, I even did that. I had to ask myself, like, what just happened there? And how is that even believable? So for me, it had a lot more to prove itself before making me believe that Wick has got some reasoning to be in this movie in the first place, and I feel like it just didn't hit the nail right.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it's still an enjoyable movie. But as I said, it's not as tight as the first John Wick. There's lots of good action scenes, again, but action scenes just don't seem to be as good. Like, everything is there, it's just not as good as the first. Like, it's way too loose, not as tightly knit. I found there was a lot of parts where the movie actually lulled, where I felt like the first movie did not lull at all. It kept driving you forward. This one, there was just too many parts where we stopped, we took a break, and we're like, I don't know, it just wasn't as tight. And so 3.5. That's what I keep coming back to. So 3.5. All right, so let's flip over into Spoiler Town. We're going to dig into this movie. What do we like? What do we really don't like about John Wick Chapter 2? You started us off there, Clay. Go again.
Did we even give a synopsis? Did we talk about who's in the movie?
Oh, we didn't.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so before we flip over to Spoiler Town,
all over the place.
We are,
because the last one we did rating best and worst, and then this one we did rating.
Okay, so before we get into our, it's most of the same people are here except for the people who died in the first one. Haha. Keanu Reeves is in this one. Ricardo Scamarcio. Yeah, he was the bad guy in this one. Ian McShane is back. Ruby Rose is in this one. Common was in this one. Let's see.
Lawrence
Fishburne, of course. How could I forget?
Yeah. John Leguizamo.
He's back again. So once again, rated R. Action, crime, thriller. Nothing much changing there. Yeah, so did you want to give us your best and your worst flipping in the Spoiler Town?
Okay, for me, easily. For me, the best part is when John Wick and the Camoran Countess, what's her name? The Italian crime boss woman who he is sent to kill. Her bodyguard after...
That's Bridget Monahan?
Gianna D'Antonio. That's who she plays, Gianna D'Antonio.
You're right. So it's Claudia Gerini that plays her.
Anyways, Wick and Cassian are in a no-holds-barred brutal battle with each other, and this guy actually is the closest that John Wick comes with an enemy who can actually go toe-to-toe with him. I mean, they have an extended back and forth with each other.
That's Cassian, played by Colin.
Yeah, Cassian. And anyways, they end up in a part where they're inside of a subway tunnel, and Wick is walking along a top walkway, and Cassian is walking along the lower one, and they each have their gun in their jacket.
Oh yeah, they're both shooting at each other.
And they're taking pot shots at each other with silencers on their gun
cool.
as they're walking down the hallway, just so they don't arouse any suspicion amongst the security guards or any of the other people there.
Right, because they can't kill.
And it's just funny.
People.
It's like there's this rough and tumble fight that goes on, and it's just. They're just
and then as soon as people see them, they're like
at each other, yeah. And
trying to be all quiet about
They're
it.
trying to be quiet, and they're trying to get from point A to point B, and they're just really quiet, pew 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 pew, and they're moving as they're moving down the catwalk. That actually made me burst out laughing. I thought that was really funny because it was like an elevator ride where they had to be quiet kind of thing. So I thought that was really funny. And my worst part though, just how the movie paces everything, where it doesn't really seem to know where it wants to go. I mean, first it's about getting to Gianna D'Antonio to kill her, and then once she dies, it's Cassian, and then after Cassian, he wants to go after.
Then all the assassins are after
boss.
him. Yeah,
and then after that, it's his. It's the crime boss
because he
mute woman there, and then after that, it's this person, and then it's this person, and this person, and this, and it just keeps on going. Like the last.
Because,
45
spoiler
minutes of the
he
movie,
breaks the rules of the Continental.
He breaks the rules of the Continental, and after that is labeled excommunicado, so he no longer has any of the services that the Continental has open to him. And it felt like they just set it up, like, whereas the first one neatly tied everything up and John Wick could have just walked off into history.
Yeah.
This one here specifically goes out of its way to tell you in loud, bold, neon letters at the end that there is going to be
another
John Wick 3. Exactly. And that, for me, that really took away from the story of that the first one had built up.
Yeah.
And the way that I felt that the way that they expanded on all the stuff that they laid out in the first one was just overkill. They have buildings upon buildings of these secretaries and stenographers who were just doing data on these assassins, and they have they took the system of the gold coins and the simple bodies in place in the first one with the secret society, and they just blew it wide open. They gave you full disclosure, and they showed everything. They didn't leave anything to the imagination. So they took everything. The thing that I least like about the movie is that they took everything from the first one and they just blew it wide open in the second one. They didn't leave anything to the imagination.
Yep, I can see those points for sure. Okay, Myles. That's the worst.
Oh boy. Okay, best is the opening sequence. I thought it was kind of like you hit pause at the end of John Wick 1, and then you hit resume at the beginning of John Wick 2. It was perfect. Because that was the last thing, was his Mustang. They took his Mustang, he's got to go get it back, and him just driving around, killing all these people with his car. There was one scene where he gets hit so hard, he pops out of the car.
Yeah.
I'm shit! It was so amazing to see that, because his door's gone, and it just made it so much more real. It's just like, boom! Oh shit! He just falls on the ground. The car left from underneath him. I'm like, oh my god. So it was such a good start. It's like, okay, if this is the movie, I'm invested. But then the movie keeps going, and you hit a lot of stuff on the head.
I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. I don't want to reiterate what you said, but for me, some of the worst stuff was, who do they get as these bodyguards that can't fight? You know what I mean? Like, there was one scene where he's in a museum, and he's killing everybody. There's this one bald guy that's following the main antagonist around. Is it Giovanni? What the hell's his name?
Yeah, it's D'Antonio?
Santino.
Santino
Santino,
D'Antonio.
he's walking through this whole museum, and he's got this one guy behind him. He's like, okay, it's your turn. You're up. I'm like, okay, let's see what this guy's got. Boom, shot to the head. Okay, what? He was the longest guard that was walking around for like 5 or 6 minutes beside him while John Wick's killing everybody. You can hear gunshots in the background. I'm like, okay, this is going to be that guy that can hold his own. Nope, he's gone. And then we get to Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
And that was hard to believe. We have this like
Yeah.
5'3" girl. Like, come on. I know he's tired from killing 1,008 people before you, but nah.
Yeah.
I don't believe that crap.
He's got a pretty immaculate KDR.
Yeah.
It was like, what,
So-
84.0 in the first one, and the second one
And
was
at that
160?
point, because there was no driving force in the movie, like you couldn't really get behind him because it was more of like a, you're an instrument, go do this.
Yeah.
And then, okay, that's done, so now you gotta
The first one
do
just seemed
this.
more focused.
Yeah,
Well,
it
it
did, for
did.
sure.
And I didn't care about him killing people anymore. At
No.
that point, it was just like, okay, he's going to kill this person, that person, this person, move on to the next scene. And then the world building, I didn't like that either.
No, they just...
I didn't like they
Watered
introduced
down.
like, oh, I'm going to make coins now. That looks just like this coin or something. Put it in circulation. Then they never went back to it.
Well, I think
Like,
that they
what
were
the
just
hell is
trying to
this?
show... They were trying to show that guy was the guy who actually minted the coins. Like, somebody probably had a question, oh, well, where
We're
do we
running
get
out
all
of
these
coins.
That's where you get them from. Well,
I
John's got
I
a
don't even
stack
care,
of
but
how
they
many
didn't
he has.
well,
explain
of course
it. It was
he's got
too-
lots.
I didn't even care. I'm like, okay, at this point, I don't care anymore because it became more of like, what's the next action scene because the story isn't being done right or something.
Yeah,
it was very
exactly.
sloppy.
The first one was very much revenge oriented. There
But
was
it
no
was
redemption.
believable.
Yeah, there was no redemption for Wick. He knew, like, whatever. But in the second one, it's like,
There was one scene right at the beginning, Rome. They were walking through the Colosseum, and Common, or what was his name? Cassian.
Yeah.
He's walking beside the Countess, and they're together. And you can clearly see John Wick standing in the, not even the shadows, because he's casting this huge 6'4" shadow in the background and no one sees him.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break. And that kept on happening over and over. He's hiding shit in the Coliseum for his exit plan, but then his exit plan's cut off by Ruby Rose, but nobody saw any of the shit. Give me a fucking break again.
Yeah.
And he's wearing his tactical outfit, and he's getting shot, like
Ooh.
point blank.
Ooh.
1,000 times he got
Yeah.
shot.
Literally.
And he puts the fucking coat over his head, and now he's safe. Fuck
Well,
you.
The thing is that his
Fuck
Taylor,
you.
His Taylor sets up the whole thing about the fact that that fiber that is sewn
Oh,
into his
yeah,
jacket
that's
can
right.
stop bullets, but
The problem
they were
is-
way too liberal.
Yeah,
with
they're
that.
way too fucking liberal because the problem is even if you wear a Kevlar vest, that impact spreads, right?
Yeah.
You
It
take a
still
Kevlar,
hits you.
it still hits you, and that hits your organs. So he's fucking dead. Half an hour getting
internal
riddled.
bleeding, man. Like,
Riddled.
for sure.
So there was too much unbelievable shit
Yeah.
that I couldn't handle it anymore. But I love that they had Cassian like toe to toe. Like
Yeah.
they kept on going back and forth. They fought a little bit, and then they'd have to leave it behind.
Man, they-
Fight a little bit more,
And then they
leave it behind.
Then they fall into the Continental. Then they have to sit down.
Then
and
they have
have
to
a beer
sit down and
together.
have to have a drink
Yeah.
together, and it's like they're steaming. It's like, okay, this was what kind of was missing in the first one. Is he was
Yeah.
such a force of nature. Nobody stood toe to toe with him except for the one bodyguard, and even he got his just desserts at the end.
They put the choreography to the absolute.
And who's
test
Lawrence
there.
Fishburne?
Yeah.
Who the hell is the king of the bums?
Yeah, he
I
came
don't
out of
fucking
nowhere.
know.
He's-
He came out of nowhere. He had
a deliberate
the
setup for a
loosest-
third part.
The loosest of storylines.
That's-
Remember,
yeah.
you cut me. Well, this
Yeah,
is your
yeah.
gift. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
the fuck? Who are you? What's your name? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, you know what that was, though. That was just an excuse to find
To
a
bring in
role
Lawrence
to
Fishburne?
bring in Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was such a huge
Hey,
part because he saved his life.
Yeah.
And then it introduced this underground bum network.
Bomb network of
And,
assassins.
and it's just like
Bum assassins.
Was Lawrence Fishburne an assassin? Was he a big guy? Like,
Bum
how does he
ninjas.
afford to keep all these?
Like they
assassin
kill you and then they
bums?
take your sandwich.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. And that kind of
Yeah.
like just took the movie like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It's
There was
You got any
unbelievable.
change? No.
Yeah.
There was so
You're
many
dead.
parts of the movie that just could have been excised. They could have just taken them out, and it would have been
Yeah,
fine.
I
Cut
agree.
that.
What's with the king of the bums? Seriously, I need to get to him.
I got all these pigeons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Looks like he's putting SIM cards in the
who needs to
pigeons.
fact-
Yeah, like what?
They
What's
don't-
that?
okay.
I don't even fucking know what that was either. It's just they gave us. The
I'm
stuff that
Lawrence Fishburne, and
they
my
tried
army
to
of
open.
cybernetic
They tried to
pigeons.
open the underground part of the first movie, but
Yeah.
they fucked it up. They was just like. They threw so much at the wall, and okay,
Yeah,
let's see
whatever
what,
stuck.
Let's see what stuck.
Whatever
Nothing stuck for me. It was fucking terrible. I didn't like that. It
All
was one last thing. The
All right.
end.
Oh,
Okay, he's
yeah.
like, you have 1 hour, and then you're excommunicado, and there's gonna be a hit on your head. He makes it 1 minute up the stairs, and everybody gets the phone call. Did it take him 1 fucking hour to get up those goddamn stairs?
But it
Shoot
said
me in the dick.
contract starts in 1 hour.
Yeah.
They said 1 hour on the contract. I know what you're
Okay.
saying. They got the message.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It
That
was shot in
What?
a confusing way. Yeah.
That-
Just in
that
case
was
the hitman got a
confusing.
little too, trigger happy. You're just like, oh, nope, you gotta wait an hour. It's
I
like,
don't
they
know.
just got out of the pool or something.
Yeah.
That kind of upset me a little bit, and the whole really reaching for that sequel.
It just felt contrived.
Yeah, it was kind of like Independence Day Resurgence. It's kind of like you really want a sequel. We can see that, but you shouldn't get one. But you are because it's Hollywood.
Yeah, when you
But-
force it upon the viewers that you're
It's
just
very
blatantly
forced.
telling us, it's like, oh, thanks for telling us.
And
That.
Yeah,
now
the-
the sequel that nobody asked for. Like
Yeah.
that's Hollywood now. Like that's Hollywood 2017.
There is still potential for this, though. I feel like it's funny that I know you guys picked away at a lot of stuff that I feel like that's why this movie's gone a lower rating overall from all of us because of the first. The first one set the bar so damn high and left little room for error, if there are any at all. That this one came around and all the errors were obvious. Honestly, my favorite, I have to admit, is actually going back to your scene, Clayton, with the subway. It's actually a combination of things. Cassian, by far, is my favorite.
Yeah.
Conflict, I think, is the word I'm coming up with.
Yeah.
He's not even so much an antagonist. He's
Yeah.
just a gun for hire who happens to be in the wrong spot.
Yeah, like
he
he
even
says-
acknowledges John like another professional. He's like, "Hey, you back in work? Yeah. So work.
Yeah.
He
Are
says,
you working tonight?
Are you working tonight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was what did he
Yeah.
ask? He's like, was it a
Was
good
it a
day?
good night?
Was it a good night? He's like,
Unfortunately, it was.
unfortunately, it was. Immediately, they knew what that
He
meant.
knew
Yeah,
what he
yeah.
was going for.
Locked
See, and that
eyes.
was cool.
And that's without dialogue.
That
Well,
brings
little
it back
dialogue.
to the first movie.
Yeah,
something
that
like
was some
Now,
of the first movie.
To me,
coming
this
out
is
of
where
it.
I got a lot of respect for the character of John Wick because we already knew what he was coming from the first movie. Coming into this one, I didn't have to second guess how much of a killer he's able to be. However, I'm always second guessing his enemies. Clearly, just as much as what you guys were picking at, things like the mute guard. I got the entire movie. We felt like we were supposed to take her seriously, and when it was finally her turn to step up to the plate,
Whiff.
she just
Yeah,
did
she's
just as
gone.
bad as the fucking henchman did.
Yeah.
At least Cassian, though, they didn't outright kill him
No,
off.
and that's part of the reason why I love that whole relation between Wick and Cassian. They not only acknowledged each other and took it so damn seriously, not like the fucking Russian mafia boss in the first movie where, he kind of gave up, figured, I'm dead, and I'm just going to joke about it by the end of the movie. Okay, I get the reasoning why behind it, but I lost total respect for his villainous because he was no longer taking himself seriously.
Yeah.
Cassian, throughout the entire movie, there was not a single moment I felt like I had to second guess how deadly this guy could be.
Yeah.
The moment he took himself seriously up against John, it was guns blazing, full tilt. They went head to head to the point where they were suddenly in public and they were pod-shotting each other with silent
It was
that
funny,
shows you
but
how
they were
deadly
trying
they wanted to kill each other.
Yeah, they just wanted
but they
each other
clearly
dead.
didn't want to blow their cover. There is an underground that they have to maintain secretly, right?
And they once again can't kill innocents.
And it led up to John having that one final blow. I've shoved a knife into your aorta, and I'm telling you this because, it's professional courtesy.
Yeah.
And that it tied in nicely with the same comment that Cassian gave to him when he's like, you know what, this is my tab. I'll pay for these rounds of drinks. It was just it was a nice, refreshing moment where I felt like they could have written it differently, and it could have been a complete botch up. Whereas, I know, I'm sorry, I keep taking it out on your computer. Cassian, I think, was just such a believable character that he was the only one that I took seriously throughout the entire thing. My gripe. God, there's a few of them I was picking at. As you guys were mentioning things, I was just listening to more and more and more. There's two of them I feel like I really had upset moments with. One, when he went to shoot Santonio, and Santonio made it back to the Continental, sat down, and arrogantly started eating in front of him.
Yeah.
And then John just immediately kills him right there. Not even thinking twice. I mean, there was a brief moment of pause when I guess the hotel manager tells him, "Be careful, walk away."
Yeah.
And he understands John's upset. I don't understand. That's the problem I'm having right now. Because
Should have been the end of the movie.
the first movie, we understood the revenge plot. We understood that in an emotional state, he lost not only the only link to his passed on wife, everything was stolen from him, and he was forced to come from out of the shadows. In this one, not as much. There wasn't enough drive to make me feel like there was a reasoning for why he needed to take out Santonio, other than for it to be that he was just a threat to him. that was it. That's as far as it went. So there wasn't enough of an emotional tie to his revenge plot because there was no revenge. So once again, John being the serial
he just
killer
owed this guy. That's all it was.
Yeah, he's the serious killer that he is, and yet I have very little faith in where he's going with his drive to why he needs to kill Santonio.
Well, I think they tried to extrapolate on that when they went into the Dr. Hand's mysterious House of Mirrors there in the museum. Like, they pulled that straight from Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, well, you know what?
And that's the last scene, the Hall of Mirrors. They pulled, and then he's talking to him, trying to rationalize with him. Like, why are you trying to rationalize with this guy? He's gonna kill you. Like,
because he's a villain and he always has to.
I know, but I feel like they tried to flesh.
He's
Antonio
a weak villain.
out.
He's not a villain that tries to fight John Wick toe to toe. He's a coward. Yeah. He tries to hide out in the Continental. It's like, you can't touch me here, and I know you're not going to break the rules. Guess again. Boom.
Oh, I thought that was awesome.
And honestly, so did you cover your?
No, and I feel like that was only the one. I think my biggest gripe, was if I do
pick something from me, all right?
I know, I'm sorry. I just feel like if I pick at the ending, I don't like how. Not so much the 1 hour thing. It was, how did he do it? He did in such a way. He's like, I guess the hotel manager. I forget his name again.
Winston.
Winston turns to John, and I think he says it in such a way that, you know what, no one's coming after you because of me. I'm holding them back. He says it in different words, but then 2 seconds later, everyone stops, and they all stare at John. Are you fucking telling me that everyone's a goddamn hitman in the city? Like, everyone, right down to the bums? You know, like, I feel like that part was so far-fetched.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Leave some innocence in this goddamn city. I'm sorry, the world is not filled with fucking killers.
Too many
I get there's a lot of them. I get there's a lot of killers. I really do. But it's just not a necessity to have every single individual in that court area to be a killer. So I thought that was just way too far gone.
Yeah. That's almost like getting into the bureau and shit like that. You know, like getting into the conspiracy theory crap and all that. Anyways, so my best and my worst. Those two action scenes you guys talked about were probably definitely the two best, and also even you mentioned Common and his rivalry with him. That was also great. Those were probably the best scenes to watch. The best thing I liked about the movie was, like I said, once again, I'm very happy that they didn't try to do the let's just do what worked in the first one. Let's kill his second dog, and because they could have easily fell into that. So I'm gonna immediately say I appreciate that, because it's not just like Taken 2 and Taken 3 where it's like, oh, his wife's kidnapped and his kid, and it's like, okay, so you gotta do something different, guys. So I'm glad they tried to do something different, and I appreciate they attempted to do more world building. What I don't like, it's just not as tight. Not as tight. They deliberately set this up for a third one, and I felt that was the total purpose of this movie. I felt like it wasn't as clean cut as the first movie, so I felt like they intentionally left a lot of open-ended things to be like, okay, we want to make a third one now, guys, but they made it so deliberate and blatant, and I didn't like that. Like, at the end, after he shoots D'Antonio, boom, and then Winston sends out the saying, okay, we got to get John Wick. That's the end of your fucking movie right there, because that's a perfect setup for the third one. Instead, there's like an extra 20-30 minutes of some assassins try to go after him. He takes care of them, and then there's some other stuff that happens. He meets Lawrence Fishburne and King of the Bums, like you could have taken all that out once he kills him. And, we know the movie. We know what's going on. You've already well established it. He broke the rules of the Continental. He's fucked. He's probably not fucked because he's John Wick. But, so when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. But it kind of delivered it in a crap way. And I feel like they could have just left that out and left it all for the next movie if they're really going to deliberately go out of their way and say that they're making a chapter 3. You know what I mean? So
they
too
could have
long.
Hinted, and say, there's a threat around the corner, and then leave it alone, and it would have allowed our imaginations to take over.
So my biggest dislike is that they deliberately, blatantly set up a third one, and I felt this one was almost gratuitously doing it so much. Whereas where I felt like John Wick is like, this is a cool little movie, check it out, boom, it's awesome. You get to walk away from it, feel good. This one, it's like, ugh, too many open-ended crap. They just wanted to throw in there. It's like, hey guys, come see our next movie.
Yeah, the first one felt like something special.
It was
because it
special.
was just so well written, and it just wrapped itself up so nicely.
Yep.
And immediately when the second one starts, I was like, what? Really? Like, his car?
Yeah, I
his
completely forgot about his car
I was
at the end of the first
hoping-
movie.
I was actually kind of hoping, like, I picked it up at the end of the first one when John goes to the vet office, whatever, to go and patch himself up. He picks probably the meanest dog, that whatever it was, a pit bull.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yes.
right?
Yes.
He picks that dog, and I was thinking, okay, he's going to get his car. Wouldn't it be nice if the dog got to attack the mob boss, right? Like, the dog gets his revenge too, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't see the dog for the whole movie, and then he picks it back up at the end from the bellhop there at the
bellhop.
Well, not the bellhop, the desk guy, the manager.
Yeah, the desk clerk, I guess, as
The
well.
Gus guy. I want to keep wanting to call him Gus too from Breaking Bad.
Gus?
That's what he looks like.
Yeah, he does kind of. But the point is that you don't see the dog, and it's like Wick's. Wick's big thing was kind of like his dog in his car kind of thing, and then they just kind of shoved that off to the side. I don't know.
My theory behind that was that they might have gotten a lot of bad flack for so brutally killing a dog in the first movie that they didn't want to have to explain themselves in the second one.
Well, yeah, they could have just had him rip the guy's throat.
I feel
It's
that
like,
way,
I have
too.
a friend who wants to say
It's like
something.
you get
to
away with killing
and
a
the
dog once.
Comes over the desk and just takes the guy out. You know what I mean?
Well, you're talking about the dog adding to the revenge, adding
Yeah,
to the
Wick
killing
brings
of...
Wick
yeah.
brings his
Yeah, but
dog
then
in,
you
and
can
he
s-
says, "I have somebody who wants to say something to you," and then the dog comes up over the desk and rips the guy's throat out. Like, how cool would that have been? The dog.
But how is it the dog's revenge? The dog wasn't a part of the original
No,
thing.
it isn't. But the people, it really resonated.
I'm
with
getting
people.
revenge on you from that other dog that I didn't
No,
know.
no. It's symbolic.
It's an underground
symbolic.
dog.
Whatever. Yeah, he's
society.
a dog assassin.
I'm not saying the dog's gonna slide a coin across the table and say, "Okay, now
They're
you're
all playing poker now.
Yeah, dogs playing poker. No. It was more the symbolism of it. They killed John's
Yeah,
dog
but
in the first
then
one.
you're saying that John Wick is this guy who trains
Okay.
dogs to
No,
be vicious to people.
Okay, just think of it this way: Vigo's son kills John's dog in the first one. John's dog kills Vigo's brother in the second one. It's kind of a symbolic.
I know what
Collateral?
you're saying. I was kind of thinking
I just
the same
wanted them
too,
to
but
use the dog somehow.
I'm glad they didn't. In
Really?
my opinion, a
I
dog
agree.
should not be considered a killing machine. I get that some people breed them to be that.
Should people,
And I
though?
get that. Well, the question becomes:
Ah.
does John? What was the question?
Should people be bred to be killing machines then? Because John is. He's a fucking murder machine.
I know what you're saying, but we're not. Now we're going
different.
far fetched here. I'm talking about John's already an established killer. The dog he took under his wing to replace the first lost dog. In my opinion, that dog. It wouldn't be fair to raise a dog to kill others simply because you felt you needed
That
the
is
vengeance
true,
to
but
avenge
I
the
could
dog you lost.
not help but think that he picked that dog specifically because it was capable of murdering
I
someone.
thought the same thing when the end of that movie, the first one happened. I'm thinking,
they're
oh, he
not-
got himself a big dog.
they're
No,
not
next
gonna
time they
kill
try
my
that
dog
again,
this
it's
time.
not going to happen the second time.
Exactly.
I thought the same thing. I'm just glad he didn't go that extra
Well,
step and taught it to be
maybe
killer.
when John Wick Chapter 3 comes out and they break into his house and try to kill his dog, that dog will kill them instead.
kind of hoping they do that.
He doesn't.
Or
have a
what
house
if for
anymore.
Chapter 3, John Wick gets killed and the dog gets revenge?
Oh, it's all John Wick's dog.
Do you want to hear my pitch to fix this movie?
Alright, let's hear it.
At the beginning of the movie, when the Russian is giving the story about Baba Yaga, they should have just jumped back into a prequel at that point and described the impossible task that got
Tell
him
us
out.
the story, how he made that Russian mafia,
How
who they
did he
were.
get out? No, I want to know
Well, that's
how he
what
got out.
That's how he got out. They explained in the first one that he did the impossible
impossible
job.
task. I want to
know
see
what
that
the impossible
impossible
task
task
was.
is.
Well, that's what Myles
what
is
I'm
saying.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what happens when he starts to talk about Baba Yaga and the impossible task. They jump into the prequel of Santino or whatever the hell that Spanish guy is.
D'Antonio.
Yeah,
Yes, thank
D'Antonio,
you.
bad actor. So they have him come out of the woodwork, and he's like, "Okay, you want out? Here's your task. You're not going to do it, so here's your task." And then they go on how he does this wicked, crazy, impossible task. Every once in a while, they jump back to reality with the Russian guy talking, with John Wick in the background, killing everybody still. And by the end of the movie, when he comes down and has that drink with him, he just completed the impossible task. And then he just drank that drink with him. And now you realize why everybody's so fucking scared of John Wick.
That is cool.
And how he got out in the first place.
I totally agree.
And then
with
when they end the movie, he gets approached by Santino at his door. You're in.
Set
Here's
up for
the
the
thing.
third.
There's your third
Wow.
movie. Hollywood, you're welcome.
Are you listening, Hollywood?
Yeah, wow.
Because now you're invested in why this Italian guy is showing up at the door. Why it's important? Because that lost meaning for me when you took away the dog.
John Wick, Chapter 0.
Because now you have the wife.
Yeah.
You have him fighting for something. He's doing this impossible task because he wants to live a normal life with his wife, and you can get behind him again.
Yeah.
Because that's why the first one for me was so good. It's like, you fucked the wrong guy's dog up. You know what I mean? And this one, he wants out, and he's going to fucking get out. And here's how he's going to do it. This movie, he's got a shotgun and he kills people.
It's like,
fuck it.
It's like Clay said. It's like, okay, he has to kill this guy, and then it's this one, and then it's that one, and then it's another one.
It's a bunch of mini bosses.
There wasn't even a mini boss. Like, the closest was Common, but at the same time, it was kind of like two friends. You know what I mean? Like, going blow to blow, and it's like, you fucked the wrong person up. Like, that was Common paraphrasing.
Well, in the first one, it's all like gold coin, sliding a gold coin across the table, and then in this one, somebody slides a black coin across the table to John Wick, and then it's like, ooh, here's my motivation.
The black coin.
Well,
the pirate coin.
I guess the one thing that wasn't too bad of a twist was that in the first one, that Russian mafia owed John Wick something, but in this one, John Wick seemed to owe someone else something, and that was kind of the nice twist. Just unfortunate that it went into the story that it did, but
I totally would go and watch your movie though, Myles.
Oh, yeah.
Man, as soon as you're saying it, I was
they
like,
ruined it.
That's really good. Oh my god, wow, that's really good.
Well, now we're 3 years in the future. I hate to see it, Keanu isn't getting younger. So if there was a time for a prequel, this was the time, and I feel like they wasted that. I feel like they can't do it anymore.
It's too late now. It's gonna be like
too late.
It's gonna be John Wick Chapter 3, and it's gonna be him against
Come get
all
me.
the assassins.
Yeah, it's gonna be come get me. And I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what kind of sucks about it. Is like this whole movie was just, I felt like was just here to set up the third. It's like, okay, you guys keep telling me how awesome this next movie is going to be, so why don't you sit still in this movie and try to make this one good first before you go ahead and tell me how great the next one's gonna be.
Shades of Underworld Blood Wars. Right?
Yeah, no, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what
Underworld was good. You got that little bit of mystery, and then the second one's like
2, 3, 4, and then 5.
And then you forgot that,
least
why are we still watching John Wick 5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because John Wick 1 was so good. And I feel like this is where it's going.
At least we didn't get an hour-long trailer before the movie
Nah,
to
that's
explain
true.
what we missed.
what you
That's
missed.
true.
Oh,
Dog's dead. Yeah,
That's what
dog's
you missed.
dead. Car stolen.
Yeah,
How much does
it
car
would've been-
cost?
You know, everything
Everything has a cost.
Thing where he's driving
Everything
to
has
the
a price,
warehouse.
bitch.
He's driving to the warehouse in his Chevelle to go and get his Mustang, and he's talking. First they killed my dog.
Oh.
Then they stole my car. Then I killed all of them. Now I'm back. Like, that's the only way they could have made that worse. Like, oh god. Okay, Doug, walk out of the theater. Just
All right, so final comments around the table for John Wick Chapter Deuce.
Oh god, please don't make a third one. Leave it alone.
They're gonna make a third one. This one wasn't as good as the first one, but it had some moments.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I still think it's worth watching, guys, because if you want to get a better understanding on where John Wick is going in this story arc, at least from the first one, the second one gives you paints a proper picture as to where it's going. I don't know if I agree with where it's going, but it's going somewhere.
It's going into the
going
$3.99
somewhere.
bin at Walmart.
Yeah, bargain bin.
It's not as good as the first. The first one's just way tighter, and it keeps driving forward. This one, there's too many lulls. Maybe if 3 is going to be awesome, it'd be necessary to watch this one, but fuck, just go watch the first one.
Yeah, watch this one though if you want. If you like,
Yeah, I mean,
if
it's
you
still
like
a good
gunfights.
action movie. It's still a good action movie. I mean, it's enjoyable, just don't expect as much.
Turn
as
your
the first.
brain off.
Yes.
This one,
The first one, keep your brain on. Second one, turn it off.
yeah, because there's a lot of awesome kills in this one. Like when he kills the 2 guys with the pencil. Okay, that was
That was cool.
Yeah.
Because in the first one, they tell
talk
you
about it.
that he kills someone with a pencil. He's like, with a fucking pencil.
Yeah, and then you
3
see
people.
it.
And then you see him actually do it. That was awesome.
Yeah, and he kneecaps a lot of people too. Like bang bang, and then he puts one in their dome. Like there was a lot of cool killing. It just the story just.
Like, you thought Joker was badass when he put that pencil. He's like, you want to see a pencil disappear? And he's like, no, John Wick is the master with the pencil.
Yeah, agreed.
Again, a lot of good and a lot of bad. You just got to take it for what it is.
All right. once again, you can join the conversation on Twitter. We Promise Nothing. Drop the G. Give us a big ol' like on Facebook. And you can like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below. We like when you do that. This is Jpar signing out.
Clayton, leaving the building.
Damn it.
Did I?
What is Myles doing then?
Did I just do that?
I
Clayton's not leaving the
Still
building.
yours.
I'm actually driving somewhere else right
Is
after
Vominos a thing? Is that something? I'm doing something in another language that means leaving the building as well.
I've heard you say it so often.
Awkward.
I'm just fixated on
That's
it.
all right.
I think Da Boo's just gonna get the fuck out of here.
Whoa. John Wick 2 really struck a chord with this guy.
And if you disagree with anything we've said on the show tonight, you can leave a comment below. But as always, we promise nothing. Good night.
Kill them all.
Oh, he did say that too. He said that in the movie. I'm gonna kill
Gary
them
at the
all.
end.
Why do you think
I'm gonna kill them all.
kill them all?
Whoa.